And I mean, I've dated black men, you know, and women are really, we have to settle. Men are the ones that I'm going to take you and make you my wife. We don't say, oh, this is my boyfriend and you no, at any given moment, that's not it.
I'm gonna say this. I think this is where women fuck up, okay. Especially our women. You prioritize a man you like over a man you admire. So what I mean by that is, a lot of times, like when the relationship ends, a lot of women will say in hindsight, the signs were there, this and that. So for instance, you know, he ends up being a deadbeat dad and things like that, right? And part of the reason why, you know, sometimes it seems like I lack empathy is like, when you look at the signs and you look at the things that you qualified him based on, they weren't things that translated into good dad. Mm-hmm. You didn't prioritize honesty. You didn't prioritize integrity. You didn't prioritize honor. You didn't prioritize discipline. Right. You didn't prioritize vision, stick-to-itiveness, right? Anybody can talk that shit.
Right.
But like, was this a man who was getting up and doing what he said he was gonna do? If you bend over in front of a man, open your legs, that is submission.
Okay.
So to draw arbitrary lines in the sand is, I will submit physically, but I won't submit mentally, or I won't submit this way. Either you submit to the man or you don't. And if you can't trust a man, my question to you is, why are you with him? Why are you with him in the first place?
You're right.
Wouldn't it be better to be alone, or take the time to prepare yourself for the type of man you say you want?
So I was having a conversation with a real life black woman not long ago. And she said that she prefers to be single because when she's single, she has control. Now, this is someone who's a single mom. She has a few kids. She likes having control. And she would rather be single and pay 100% of the bills versus being in a relationship with a man and paying going 50-50. So essentially, also what she said was, if she is going to get in a relationship with a black man, or a man, but she was talking about a black man, he would have to pay 100% of her bills before she would get in this relationship with him. And again, in her mind, for her to give up control, right? Because mind you, when you get in a relationship, you are giving, to some degree, giving up a level of control if you are expecting the man to leave, specifically if you're headed toward marriage, obviously. And so for her to give up control and relinquish control, it's not worth it unless all her bills are being paid. So to translate this, essentially what I heard was a man's value is purely financial to her. Because again, she wasn't talking about anything else. She was mainly fixating on the fact that unless she can get all her bills paid, other than that, there's no point in her being in a relationship with a man if she still has to come out of her pocket in any way. So in my opinion, she kind of reduces a man's role to financial. And although, I was, again, engaging in this conversation with her, it actually wasn't jarring, right? It wasn't shocking, because this is what many black women often say. I mean, I've heard it many, many times. And, again, this idea that men are often reduced to, like, their value being reduced to money. Now, we do know that women are hypergamous in nature. I do agree with that. However, my question for you all, is it fair? Is it realistic in this day and age, especially, like, for example, I live in the DMV area. It's very expensive, right? We know that the average black man is not making, over 60, is not making six figures and more. The average black man, I think it's makes $50,000 a year, and even the ones who make $70,000, $80,000, depending on where you live, that might not be a lot of money. And especially if that man has kids and so forth. So, is it realistic, to be hypergamous given the situation that we all are in the United States, and specifically in places like the DC area that are really expensive. This woman I'm talking about lives in the DMV, in the DC area, right? So is her expectations realistic? And this goes back to, again, some of the things, I think, just to hit on that point about men's value being reduced to money. I'm going to make some assertions in this video. One is going to be that, you guys know I talk about being an invisible Black woman. I was an invisible Black woman. At times, I still struggle with that. But I'm going to assert in this video that my hypothesis is I think Black men struggle with invisibility. I think that oftentimes Black men are not seen. And essentially, I think some Black men as a result feel invisible, feel insignificant. Now, do I think that most Black men would admit this? No. Do I think that many Black men are even aware of this? Or, I don't even think that Black men would describe it as invisible or feeling insignificant. But listening to this Black woman and what she said, kind of echoed this invisibility, because essentially her whole point is if you can't pay all her bills, why are you there? She had kind of a nice way of saying that. And this is what I hear echoed often, amongst Black women, not all Black women, of course, but, so I want to kind of start there. And that's one of my first assertions. I think that Black men are invisible. I mean, not all Black men, but I think this is something that Black men do struggle with. The other thing that I'm going to assert in this video, and I know that you guys will disagree with this 100%. You're going to disagree, but I'm going to keep hitting on this point, is that I think subconsciously Black women, some of them, more than you think, Black women like to be held accountable, or maybe I should say want to be held accountable. Let me give you an example. I'm going to give you a couple examples. One example is people who say that they don't like their job. They say that, I hate this job, right? But they don't find a new job. They don't quit. They don't try to get fired. They keep showing up every single day to this job that they say they don't like. People who are in relationships who complain to their friends and, associates about disliking their partner. Oh, their partner's so annoying, but they keep showing up to the relationship. They stay, for years. I'm going to say that there are some spaces here on YouTube, I'm just using YouTube as an example, that Black women keep showing up to. One of those spaces, as I've referenced many times before, was Kevin Samuels' podcast, his show on YouTube. Now, people can say, those Black women were just showing up because they wanted to challenge Kevin Samuels. They wanted Kevin Samuels to agree with them. And I think that there's some truth to that. Yes, there were Black women who did want Kevin Samuels to agree with them, and they did want to challenge Kevin Samuels. But also, the point being here is that regardless of what reason, those Black women, millions of them, kept showing up. And I'm really interested in what people do, not what people say. Looking at behaviors. What are people actually doing? I often ask myself that question when it comes to, YouTube. And you guys probably saw the survey. If you're in my community on YouTube, I've sent a couple surveys out, a poll and a survey. Why do people watch my videos, for example? What do they get out of my videos? So I'm going to circle back to the accountability, but I want to make a bigger point here about the tension between Black men and Black women. I want to assert that this is real. This is not made up. People, I've been hearing in different spaces, people saying things like, oh, well, the only issues between Black men and Black women exist on YouTube or exist online. That's not true. I think what we're seeing online is a reflection of what is happening in person. It is amplified. All these issues are amplified online. From a business standpoint, and I know I owe you guys more information about my business program, which stay to the end. I'll be giving you more information about that. But from a business standpoint, when it comes, this is somewhat of an analogy, but like when it comes to business, right? Everything is about problems. Like in terms of if you see a large group of people congregating somewhere, say on a certain content creator's platform, let's just say O'Shea Duke, right? O'Shea Duke is making all of this content. And if you see a lot of people congregating, a lot of Black men, for example, you have to ask yourself, why are they congregating there? Oftentimes what you'll find out is that there's a demand there. And a lot of times if there's a big demand for something, it means that there is a problem. O'Shea Duke Jackson is solving a problem for his audience. That is why they are there. There's a problem. I'll just say, as a content creator, your job is to fill in the gaps. And as a business person, essentially the way business people think is you're always trying to solve problems. They call it pain points. How can I come up with a solution for the problems that exist? So what we have is a large group of Black men on YouTube and in the real world, we'll just say on YouTube, who gravitate toward, certain types of content. For example, the kind of content that I make, O'Shea Duke, Crimson Cure, the Riva TV, et cetera, et cetera. Then you have Anton Daniels, I should put him in there, Then you have another, there's actually a lot of Black women who congregate to, there's sort of a rising niche of Black women who are exhausted from work and their careers. And so there's a lot of content coming from Black women creators who, again, are solving the problem of Black women being exhausted. So, again, to go back to the demand that exists, that demand, all those people who are congregating on these different content creators' platforms, they're there to gain value. And ultimately, they're there in many cases because that content creator is helping them, even if the content creator is not solving the problem or, finding specific solutions, at least they are creating a space for these issues to be discussed. YouTube, in its inception, YouTube has been around since 2005. When YouTube first started, it was really a problem-solving app. People were coming on YouTube primarily to solve tangible problems. How do I change a tire? How do I install a window? I want to remodel my kitchen. How do I do that? I have college students that I work with. They use YouTube to do homework. They use YouTube for tutoring, that type of thing. YouTube is a problem-solving app in most cases. Now, granted, people do use YouTube for entertainment, but one of the best ways to really be successful on YouTube is to provide both. If you can entertain and you can educate, then, that's ideal. But why I'm saying this is because now YouTube has become like a go-to place for a different type of problems. Problems in the Black community. Why are so many Black women single? Why do I see so many Black women, or why do I see so many Black men dating women of other races and other cultures? Why do Black women want to have big butts? These are, you're solving problems, you're answering questions, and hopefully, as a content creator, providing solutions. So I'm going to bring this back to accountability. Accountability for Black women. And I know that was a roundabout way to make my point, but bring it back. You have to ask yourself, when you see Black women who consume content, let's just say, for example, Mr. Let Go, who by the time this airs, I probably would have already been featured on his channel. But we'll use Mr. Let Go as an example. And he definitely holds Black women accountable for a lot of different things. When you see, now you could say that, well, most of his followers are men, which is probably true. But he does have some women followers. And so when you see that, you have to ask yourself, what does that mean? Are they there just to disagree with him? Or are they seeking something that maybe they don't even know they're seeking? Oftentimes, some people couldn't even really tell you why they keep showing up. They just keep showing up. And it could be to debate. It could be to, just be nosy or be a troll or whatever. But ultimately, a lot of times, subconsciously, again, I think a lot of these things are subconscious. I think subconsciously, there are Black women, more than you think, who secretly like accountability, or at least tolerate it. And if you think about it, let's think about the Pookies and the Ray Rays that we always talk about. Why do so many Black women, even the educated ones, the woman who I referenced at the beginning of when I started talking, who said that she wanted a man to pay all her bills, otherwise she'll be single. She was educated. She's an educated woman. She's a career woman, right? Why do educated career women gravitate to Pookie and Ray Ray? Well, I would say women know that they cannot talk to Pookie and Ray Ray any type of way. All the neck rolling, all of that usually doesn't fly with Pookie and Ray Ray. The tone, the attitude oftentimes may not fly. So I'm not advocating to go to Pookie and Ray Ray, but I'm making a point about accountability, is that when you say that Black women don't want to be held accountable, but then you see that there are certain archetypes of men that they do respect to a degree, right? And even though it may be unfortunate that Pookie and Ray Ray they're getting respect, but you have to ask yourself, why is that? Maybe because they know that Pookie and Ray Ray will go off on them if they get out of line. And you have to also look at even like little kids. A child could say, well, I hate when my mom and dad, tells me I can't do this and tells me I can't do that. I hate it. I hate all the rules. The reality is those kids low key actually like having rules, because having no rules means that their parents don't care about them. And they know that. Subconsciously, as much as a kid will act like they hate doing chores and they hate being called out and they hate being disciplined, at the end of the day, that kid knows that you care about them. Because if you didn't care about them, you would let them do whatever they wanted to do. Kids are smart enough to know that. Black women are smart enough to know that. So again, I'm going to make an assertion here, and you guys are welcome to disagree, but I think that Black women do, not all of them, some of them do welcome accountability. And I think that is why, when people like Kevin Samuels, people like Mr. Let Go, they're polarizing people. They have very strong opinions. These are also people who are very successful online. And it's not only because of men. They also do have women who watch their videos and who support them. And there's something that I remember Broken Tradition, shout out to you, Broken Tradition said, and it stuck with me. He talks about shock value versus value. And that oftentimes it's the shock value that will pull you in. Shock value will pull you in. Like shock value could lead you to click on a video, but as long as there's real value there, you'll stay, right? So when people say that, well, women are only watching, I don't know, again, we'll use Mr. Let Go because of the shock value, or they only watch Kevin Samuels because of the clickbait or the shock value. But why do they keep coming back every week, every other night or whatever, calling in twice, 3 times, waiting for him to choose them to come on the show? Like, why? Someone answer this for me, please, So yeah, those are the 2 things I'm asserting here. Black men, I think, do struggle with invisibility. And Black women, some of us do like to be held accountable. Secretly. I don't think we would ever admit that, but secretly. All right, so just some housekeeping things here. If you feel compelled, donate to my channel. I put out my last video was not monetized. So I tell you guys that if you feel compelled, you can donate to my channel via Cash App or via Super Thanks. Also, if you have bought my book, first of all, thank you if you bought my book. And please do leave a review on Amazon. I would highly appreciate that. For those who have given me your email, thank you. I did get it. And I have not sent out an email yet. So you have not missed anything. So in the description box, and you have given me your email. Again, if you scroll to the bottom of the page on my website, there's a box where you can enter your email address. It says join my community. So thank you so much for your email address. And no, I have not sent out an email yet, and I will be sending out an email soon. So just stay tuned for that. And I have a lot of things coming down the pike. I've been grateful for the collaborations. I was on the Lapeef channel, and I'll be back. I was on Dr. Thunder's channel. Hope to come back to see Dr. Thunder and his crew, and also Mr. Let Go. But also there's some things coming down the pike moving forward. So one of the things is membership. So comment below if any of you all would be interested in becoming a member. I'll be talking more about that. I'll be talking more about what membership would mean. But if you are someone who enjoys my content, you may want to be a member. And so that is something I'll announce once I kind of get started with my membership group. Interviews are also coming down the pike. So I'm doing my best to get kind of set up to begin interviewing people. And I already have a lineup, you guys, and you guys are going to absolutely love the lineup. I'm going to be interviewing Black men and Black women. Some of them you might know. Yeah, some folks you might actually know. So lots coming down the pike, but I just want to thank you all for supporting me. So like, share, and subscribe. Click the links in the description box to get to know what I do with my business, Curated Legacy LLC, Curated Legacy Coaching and Consulting. Also, I have a book on Amazon, 2 books on Amazon. One of them is about being an invisible Black woman, and you can learn more about that if you click that link in the description box. What else? I am still in my business program. In fact, I'll be heading out shortly to go to class. So I'm going to be sharing what I'm learning. So stay tuned for that. And as always, you guys, stay tuned for more videos. Bye.